Hello viewers, welcome to the Big Man Business YouTube channel. Here is another highly informative video. In this video, we're going to be talking about Colombia's top import and exports. Keep watching, we got it all covered. Colombia has the world's 37th largest economy, with annual exports of $43.2 billion and imports of $49.3 billion, resulting in a negative trade balance of minus $6.04 billion. In the 15 years leading up to 2016, Colombia received more than $150 billion in total foreign direct investment. Analysts generally agree that as armed conflicts within the country are gradually replaced by a stable political process, economic conditions may improve in the future. This video provides an overview of Colombia's economy, including primary imports and exports. If you're new to the Big Man Business YouTube channel, please subscribe and turn on the notification bell to receive updates on new business expert videos. For more international business news and updates, please visit www.bigmanbusiness.com. Colombia's top trading partners. Colombia, located in the northwestern region of South America, shipped $31 billion in goods around the world in 2020. This figure represents a minus 0.2% decrease from 2016 and a minus 21.4% decrease from 2019 to 2021. In terms of value, 35.5% of Colombia's exports were delivered to North American countries, while 26.2% were sold to Latin American importers excluding Mexico but including the Caribbean. Colombia shipped an additional 20.8% of its goods to Asia and 13.9% to Europe. Africa with 0.6% and Oceania, led by Australia, received lower percentages of 0.5%. Here is a list of 15 of Colombia's most important trading partners in terms of export sales. That is the country that imported the greatest number of Colombian shipments in terms of dollar value in 2021. The percentage of total Colombian exports for each import country is also shown. The United States, $10.6 billion account for 24.5% of total Colombian exports. $10.4 billion from China account for 23.9%. $2.9 billion for Mexico account for 6.7%. Brazil has a trade worth of $2.4 billion with Colombia, which is 5.6%. Germany received $1.6 billion, standing at 3.8%. France with $958.6 million, which is 2.2%. India with $937 million, which is also 2.2%. Japan with $879.1 million accounts for 2%. Spain with $798.1 million accounts for 1.8%. Ecuador with $789.9 million accounts for 1.8% too. Canada got $751.1 million from trade with Colombia, which is 1.7%. Argentina with $724.5 million account for 1.7%. $680.9 million for Peru, accounting for 1.6%. Italy received $679.2 million accounting for 1.6%. $676.4 million in South Korea accounts for 1.6%. More than 4/5 or 82.6% of Colombian exports in 2021 were delivered to the 15 trade partners listed above. South Korea was the only top importer that increased its purchases of Colombian exports by 3% between 2019 and 2021. The other 14 countries saw declines ranging from minus 0.8% for China to minus 28.2% for France. Colombia's top 10 imports. Colombian imports are expected to cost $43.5 billion in 2020, a minus 3.1% decrease from 2016 and a minus 13.7% decrease from 2019 to 2021. According to the average 2020 exchange rate, the Colombian peso has depreciated by minus 21% against the US dollar since 2016 and by minus 12.6% from 2019 to 2021. Because of Colombia's weaker local currency, imports paid for in stronger US dollars are relatively more expensive when converted from the Colombian peso. Using a continental lens, Asian trade partners accounted for more than a third or 35.1% of Colombia's total imports by value. North American countries supplied nearly a third or 32.9% of Colombia's imports, with Europe accounting for the remaining 16%. At 14.5%, exporters from Latin America excluding Mexico and the Caribbean contributed a smaller share. Africa with 0.3% and Oceania with 0.1%, led by Australia, provided smaller percentages. With a population of 50.9 million people, Colombia's total of $43.5 billion in 2020 imports equates to roughly $850 in annual product demand from every person in South America's second most populous country. During 2020, these product groups that will be mentioned have the highest dollar value in Colombia's import purchases. The percentage share of each product category in terms of total imports into Colombia is also shown. $5.2 billion for machinery, including computers, accounted for 11.9% of total imports. $5 billion in electrical machinery and equipment accounted for 11.4%. $3.5 billion for automobiles stands at 8%. $2.5 billion for pharmaceuticals account for 5.8%. Mineral fuels, including oil, are worth $2.2 billion, which is 5.1%. Plastics and plastic products are valued at $2.1 billion, which is 4.8%. Cereals are worth $2 billion, which stands at 4.5%. $1.9 billion for organic chemicals represents 4.3%. $1.5 billion for optical, technical, and medical equipment stands at 3.4%. $1.2 billion for iron and steel represents 2.7%. Colombia's top 10 imports accounted for 61.8% of the total value of its foreign product purchases. Imported cereals are the sole grower among Colombia's top 10 import categories, increasing 9.5% from 2019 to 2020, owing to increased Colombian purchases of internationally sourced corn, wheat, and rice. Mineral fuels, including oil, experienced the greatest year-over-year decline of -49.1%. Colombia's top 10 exports. The Republic of Colombia, located in northwest South America and sharing a portion of its northern border with Panama, shipped $31 billion in goods around the world in 2020. This figure represents a -0.2% decrease from 2016 and a -21.4% decrease from 2019 to 2020. According to the average 2020 exchange rate, the Colombian peso has depreciated by -21% against the US dollar since 2016 and by -12.6% from 2019 to 2020. Colombia's weaker peso makes exports paid for in stronger US dollars less expensive for international buyers. According to the most recent country-specific data, 72.6% of Colombian exports were purchased by importers in the following countries: the United States with 30.4% of the global total, China with 8.6%, Panama with 4.9%, Ecuador with 4.7%, Brazil with 4.1%, Mexico with 3.7%, Italy with 3.1%, Turkey with 2.9%, Peru with 2.8%, India with 2.6%, Chile with 2.5%, and the Netherlands with 2.3%. In terms of value, 35.5% of Colombia's exports were delivered to North American countries, while 26.2% were sold to Latin American importers excluding Mexico but including the Caribbean. Colombia exported another 20.8% of its goods to Asia. Europe with 13.9%, Africa with 0.6%, and Oceania led by Australia received smaller percentages with 0.5%. With a population of 50.9 million people, Colombia's total of $31 billion in 2020 exports equates to approximately $600 for each resident of the South American sovereign state. The export product groups listed below have the highest dollar value in Colombian global shipments in 2020. The percentage share of each export category in terms of total Colombian exports is also shown. Mineral fuels, including oil, totaled $12.9 billion, which represent 41.6% of total exports. $3 billion in gems and precious metals standing at 9.6%. $2.5 billion for coffee, tea, and spices standing at 8.2%. $1.4 billion for live trees, plants, and cut flowers standing at 4.6%. Plastics and plastic products are valued at $1.3 billion, which are 4.3%. $1.3 billion for fruits and nuts account for 4.1%. $598.8 million for animal or vegetable fats, oils, and waxes account for 1.9%. $512 million for electrical machinery and equipment, which is 1.6%. $506.2 million for sugar and sugar confectionery account for 1.6%. $478 million for iron and steel account for 1.5%. Colombia's top 10 exports accounted for nearly 4/5 of the total value of its global shipments, which is around 79.2%. Gems and precious metals were the fastest growing export category among the top 10, increasing by 52.7% from 2019 to 2020, driven by higher international revenues from exported gold. Animal or vegetable fats, oils, and waxes came in second with a 14.1% increase in export sales. Colombia's fruit and nut shipments experienced the third fastest increase in value, increasing by 10.9%. Mineral fuels, including oil, were the leading decliner among Colombia's top 10 export categories, with a -40.3% drop year-on-year. Colombia's most valuable exported goods are crude oil with 22.9% of global total, coal plus solid fuels made from coal with 11.4%, gold with 9.3%, coffee with 8.1%, refined petroleum oils with 5%, fresh or dried flowers with 4.5%, bananas including plantains with 3.2%, coke and semi-coke with 2%, iron ferroalloys with 1.4%, and palm oil with 1.4%. Colombia's total exported goods account for 4.3% of its overall gross domestic product, valued at $719 billion in purchasing power parity US dollars in 2020. In 2020, exports will account for 4.3% of total GDP in PPP terms, compared to 5.2% in 2019. Those percentages indicate a decreasing reliance on products sold in international markets for Colombia's total economic performance, albeit over a short time frame. The unemployment rate is another important indicator of a country's economic performance. According to Trading Economics, Colombia's average unemployment rate was 17.3% in January 2021, up from 12.2% the previous year. Bogotá is Colombia's capital city. Thanks for watching this video. We are open to suggestions. Kindly drop your comments in the comment box and don't forget to subscribe to the Big Man Business YouTube channel. See you in the next video.